Hi, everyone. It is March 14, 2024. Hello, Linty London, Andrew Cruz, Alicia DeMoss, Chillax Nick, and Rage Against the Machine, and Christy Hazelwood. Sherry Hughes, thank you very much. Real Joe Biden, hello. Donald J. Trump, hello. Wow. Real Joe Biden, and we got Donald J. Trump. Wow. My live streams must be circulating to the powers that be. Yeah. And Jane Northrup, and Hypocrites Matrix, and Taylor Noose, Laura Larson. Hello. James Brandenburg, Ray Clay, Barb in Ohio, Czech Rock Stars, hey Czech. Could be argued the shit is hitting the fan as we speak. Well, yeah, it could be argued that. But the shit has hit the fan for millions and millions and millions, well, worldwide, billions. Already. Those who haven't experienced that shit right now, you're lucky. That's all you are. Lucky. Shauna Howard, hello. Wonder why. Kenosis, hello. I'm sure I've missed people and I apologize. Marty Lauderdale and Sherry Hughes, thank you very much. Super Painting 62, Michael Wilson, Tranquil, Vortex, hi. So, we've had weather. This is radar, current radar, and look at these superstorms. Look at these superstorms. All the way from Texas to Oklahoma and Arkansas and Missouri and Indiana and Illinois, Ohio. Well, you guys, you've got tornado watches. Isn't that a surprise? Look at these extremely low frequencies belting away from South Carolina into Florida. Let me show you. This was at 7:49 a.m. and the supercells and the wow, powerful, extremely low frequencies blasting away the East Coast down into the Southeast. The weapons of mass destruction. You're looking at it. You're looking at these weapons of mass destruction firing away. But I did take note early this morning. Okay, this is not looking good. Not looking good. And it wasn't good. Tornadoes have hatched. Let me show you. Well, actually, from current, let's see how much of a change there was. Let's do, what time was this? 3:57. The hatching of the nanobot supercells. You got them down here in Mississippi, and they were just hatching here in Oklahoma, Arkansas. They got them hatched for you in Ohio. Oh, tornadoes in Ohio. You may very well get them. So this is current. And you can see all of the frequencies that are blasting away out on the periphery of these storms. Man-made. Man-made. And people always suffer the consequences. Sometimes a lot of people, sometimes not so much, but you always get people to suffer the consequences. And that is not fair.
I want to get to WHAS 11's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Aspen Hester. They are live in Milton County.
So Taylor, what are you seeing out there?
Well, right now, Shay, we're in the center of it all in downtown Milton, Kentucky. Most businesses have been hit. Take a look over here. You see where that sign is partially hanging down. That was just after the tornado hit at 2 o'clock. But if you follow me this way right here, we're standing in the parking lot of what was once a pizza shack that had been here for 2 years. The roof completely blown away. What's left right now is debris and tree limbs all over the place. But I want to show you something right here. Take a look at this shutter right here. Significant damage done right to this shutter right here. It's hanging just by a limb. Take a look.
A shutter that looks like a gutter. Hanover, Indiana. They have a lot of destruction.
Well, guys, we got to Hanover, Indiana just about 10 minutes ago, and we want to show you what we're seeing over here in one of these residential neighborhoods. There are neighbors picking up the pieces from this tornado. You're taking a look at Bill Wegner's yard right now. We're about to speak with him. The 85-year-old has been living here for 25 years. First time a tornado's touched down in your area. Tell me what you were seeing and experienced during that tornado.
It happened so fast, I just heard the noise, the train everybody talks about, and in like 10 seconds it was over. So I didn't really hear anything but the noise and didn't know it was coming.
Weren't expecting it at all?
No, not really. I'd been out of town today.
And so obviously I see there's some debris on you. What were you actually doing during that tornado?
I was down on the floor and the ceiling all come out of my house and all of the insulation in the attic came down. So, and then I just tried to find my way out.
And we're going to take a look again at your house. What damage are you seeing in your house right now?
Everything in it's gone. The back wall is gone. The roof is off the garage. It's all gone.
And when we're looking at your neighborhood in particular, how many homes, I know you're probably focused on your home, but how many homes would you say is like yours right now in this neighborhood?
I think maybe that one over there don't look too good, but I don't know, really. I don't really know. I've not been anyplace else.
Mm-hmm. So you're just focused right now on your home?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so Bill, thank you very much. Guys, this is just one of, like we said, a few homes in this area.
Well, there are more homes, so southern Indiana.
And 13 News at 5 begins with breaking news as we track another storm system that has the potential to cause tornadoes.
Yeah, take a look. This one happened just hours ago in southern Indiana. This was right over the Ohio River. Jefferson County Emergency Management says it touched down near Madison, Indiana. And tonight we're also getting our first look at some of the damage it caused. This is along the area along the Kentucky-Indiana border. It also brought down some trees and power lines there.
It can be really dangerous. Indiana State Police shared these pictures online of the damage to homes in Madison. They also got reports of damage in Hanover too. So our team of meteorologists have been warning us about the potential for severe weather the past few days.
And we'll give you a live look at live Doppler 13 radar right now. Shows, yep, more storms starting to pop up in central Indiana tonight.
Damage in Indiana, Kentucky.
High alert for the potential of more severe storms after reports of a tornado touching down in southeast Indiana. We're getting a first look at some of the aftermath there now being seen following that storm. This is in Milton, Kentucky, by the way, across from the river there and from Madison, Indiana. In fact, homes missing roofs, trees are on top of buildings there. You can see the middle part of that building there just completely stripped off. And then this scene from Sandy Beach Campground near Vevey, Indiana. You can see what appears to be a funnel cloud there swirling around outside. And also some video showing what appears to be a tornado crossing, or at least a funnel cloud, crossing the Ohio River in Madison, Indiana as it made its way toward Milton, Kentucky, where we've seen some of that damage. Other pictures and videos from viewers are showing the sheer magnitude of the hail falling in some parts of the area. Take a look here, many of larger than golf ball sized hail in the hands there. We've had reports of 3 to 4 inch size hail as well. We do have team coverage for you tonight across the tri-state. WCPO 9 News reporters Jessica Hart and Sean Delancey are covering the aftermath for us. We're going to have full. You've moved to a couple different areas.
Crossing the river from Madison into Kentucky here. And when I talked with EMS Director Andrew Stark here in Trimble County, he says that tornado did cross the river, touched down in Milton proper, and then took out about 4 to 5 miles of land to along State Route 36 here, and it took out a huge area. I mean, you can see the damage here. This is a camper that was flipped on top of itself here about a mile from Milton proper. And then just all the way across this field, all we see is pieces of homes, debris, insulation, and then up on the hill, just trees that have been shaved at the top. The EMS Director Stark does say that took out a good portion of the area. All of the power in the county is out right now, as he says that a major transmission line was taken out. And I talked with the man named James right up on the hill here. He was telling me that the wind was coming through. He was trying to keep his front door closed, and he was just seeing tree after tree after tree come down around his mobile home park.
I watched the trees in the holler here blow down, and I mean, that's about all. I mean, I just wondered if I was going to end up down there on the highway or not.
I mean, what do you goes through your head in a moment like that? Where it's,
hey, there ain't nothing you can do.
Wow. Massive gorilla hail hits parts of Kansas and Missouri as storm threatens tornadoes, and there was tornadoes in Kansas. Not bad damage, but here in Missouri, a whole lot of damage from this massive gorilla hail.
Roofers looked around, and in the neighborhood that we stopped in, it was full of roofers. They were going door to door, checking out the damage and giving estimates. They showed us some pictures of some of the things that they found, everything from cracked shingles to the shingles that had been knocked off. There were dents in gutters and roofs that had been busted. It's the kind of damage they say they just don't see very often from a hailstorm.
I've been doing this for about 10 years, so we kind of watch the storm as it comes through, and we can kind of gauge how bad it's going to be. And hail of this size, it's catastrophic.
The largest storm I've seen in a heavily populated area. There was a storm in Lexington last year that was equivalent, but over such a populated area with so many homes, this is by far the largest storm I've seen.
And things were very bad. A lot of people stayed home today because they wanted to start the process of getting their cars fixed, getting their roofs looked at. And some of the people were just so amazed by how big the hail was that they actually saved some of the hail. They put it in the freezer, and they just...
Yeah, that's right. The hail was so intense last night in Claycomo that this homeowner right here...
Now, several people are starting their next steps after getting hit with hail. Good afternoon. I'm Matt Fleener in for Laura.
And I'm Kelly Eckerman. We do have live team coverage this afternoon to help you knock things off your to-do list. KMBC 9's Darissa White is live after speaking with an insurance company. But we're going to start with Dennis Evans. And Dennis, you talked to some roofers about the damage they're seeing.
What's going on here?
Yes, and there was lots of damage. Here's the thing. The storm hit all throughout the metro, but...
Yeah, that's right. The hail was so intense last night in Claycomo that this homeowner right here says she's worried about the damage done to her roof. Lori Stingel has lived in Claycomo for 6 years. She recently needed a partial roof replacement from another storm a couple years ago. She tells us going through her previous insurance was such a headache, she ended up replacing the roof herself. But with the intense hail, she's making sure all her bases are covered this time around.
First of all, you contact your insurance agent. Talk to them first. Make sure that you are following protocol with them because they're going to be another advocate for you. Next thing to do is contact the insurance agency. Make sure that you get the number.
Oh, wow, man. The fish in the Florida Keys are still behaving bizarrely. More fish are spotted behaving bizarrely.
A marine mystery in the Lower Keys that continues to baffle,
Sawfish,
shock,
what the hell?
and break hearts.
I'm so sorry, buddy.
According to FWC, since December, at least 21 critically endangered small-tooth sawfish have been reported dead. Separately, more than a dozen species of fish have been seen spinning and acting erratically.
Now, we don't know if these two events are related, but we have investigations and lines of inquiry going on right now.
And officials, not the only ones investigating.
Back in February of last year, I noticed that pinfish started behaving odd, like they were playing dead. And
if you want to know more about this, because this is a recent video, but they've embedded a video that I've already shown you, but things are happening. Gee, you do have to wonder about what military is doing. That's where you should go first. But nope, we're going to go to these scientists who are just baffled. 12 million gallons of additional raw sewage from Mexico to flow into the United States per day.
Is being shut down for the next week and a half. According to the International Boundary and Water Commission, this means an additional 10 to 12 million gallons of raw sewage per day having to be released into the U.S. This is the Tijuana River Valley. Visually, it looks like a great place to visit, but as you step out of your car, you'll notice a rather pungent smell, something Bethany Case tried to describe.
The smell of the worst porta potty ever. It smacks you in the face.
Case is with the Surfrider Foundation, an environmental group that is very concerned with news that an additional 10 to 12 million gallons of raw sewage per day will be making its way from south of the border into the U.S.
When there's an additional 10 to 12 million gallons or any additional sewage coming into the pump station or not going through the pump station, it means that we get hit with the smell, which means it's in the air.
According to the International Boundary and Water Commission, the additional sewage expected from Mexico over the next 10 days is supposed to end up at the wastewater treatment plant operated by the IBWC. But Case worries since the facility is already at capacity, the sewage will end up in the valley instead.
It can only process 25 million gallons a day, and when we go beyond that, the extra effluent is not treated. It can't be. They can't do it because
I didn't have my sound on. Well, I hope you read it. You know, the dead satellites causing a whole lot of this plasma dust or magnetic dust. It could rip apart the atmosphere. No big deal. The protective shield of our atmosphere. But I include this because I just want you to see that they could say anything at all for anything that happens. It will be accepted by the majority. Creating the plausible deniability is very easy when you have what is essentially a stupid population. It's very easy. Okay. And I will post the link to this. This was sent to me by a subscriber, the Frankenskies. I'll play just a few minutes of it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Then circulate it.
Research, they're admitting to it. The chemtrails, the geoengineering, the solar radiation management, okay, and now you can even look up the Solar Radiation Management Governance Initiative, SRMGI, okay, it's an initiative to govern their solar radiation management, which is chemtrails, which is geoengineering. So these people are meeting, 24 scientists behind closed doors, to develop the plan for the regime to take hold to go full-scale deployment. Some days don't have chemtrails, right? Some days are clear. And really, the more clear days you get in a row, the more likelihood it is that you're going to get a grid pattern coming up. But this irregular pattern of appearance where you not only have no lines in the sky, but you also don't have the air traffic, okay? Listeners, feel free to look up at your sky, look at that air traffic, see those days where there's nothing going on. And this irregularity in the appearance it's the clue, it's the first clue for the newbies. Chemtrails are also called solar geoengineering. It's also called solar radiation management. It's also called stratospheric aerosol injections. Okay, and what they like to do is they like to confuse us with the terminology. It's all one thing, right? It's all chemtrails, it's all geoengineering, it's all solar radiation management, stratospheric aerosol injections, whatever word you want to give it, it's all treason. It's very, very obvious that chemtrail does not behave like an actual cloud formation. It forms out and fades into a milky haze. All right? Irregular pattern of appearance, the number of trails seen simultaneously at a given time. When you're sitting out there and it's a normal day and then all of a sudden a dozen planes show up and grid the sky, whereas you've seen 3 planes all day, something is going on there. That's it. It's that simple. How come all of a sudden all the planes show up at once and zigzag the sky? We got broken trails, all right? Things are going on where they're mixing chemicals in the sky. They're using the atmosphere as a laboratory. That is a quote from NASA. Using the atmosphere as a laboratory. Okay, the exhaust is often coming where the engines are not. Okay, this wakes the people up. In 1983, we had 50 companies, right? 90% of the media. 1983, 50 companies encapsulated the 90% of the media. Now it's been consolidated down to 6 companies. Those 6 companies are owned by just a couple families. Everything is controlled. They hand a script to the entire nation. And your local broadcaster is reading something that was planned to build your mental construct to control the way you think about everything.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday. A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday. A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday. A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday. A child's happiness is priceless, right? Especially on a birthday. A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday. A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday. A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
Civil society actors that, quote, manifest the will of the public. They call these AstroTurf because almost everything has been co-op. They contemplated how they were going to convince us that we need solar geoengineering to block out the sun. They say society is lousy at strategy, but we are not. A few suggested that to shift the conversation in productive ways, geoengineering will be characterized publicly as a terrible choice. We'll start the conversation by introducing them this problem, and we'll tell them that it's a horrible idea. Problem, reaction, solution. So here they come out immediately. Geoengineering, a horrible idea. Geoengineering climate fixes could harm billions. During this short time frame, Forbes magazine, Washington Post, chemtrails are not real, showing a picture of chemtrails. So if you're new to this, you're being educated by your trusted news sources, okay? And they're telling you there's nothing to see up there, don't worry. But wait in 6 months, they're gonna tell you they've got a cure for global warming, and it's identical to what they have proven to you does not exist. Geoengineers to spray sun-reflecting chemicals from a balloon. They think that we're so dumb that we see the lines coming out of the planes, we see these rare halos going around the sun, and then all they have to say in the newspaper is, well, we're gonna use balloons, don't worry. Geoengineering gets green light from federal scientists 2017. March 25th, we've got new clouds for you, 12 of them. 12 new clouds? And how does this correspond to this entire agenda push? And the name for these vapor trails, Homo mutatus, which literally means man-made.
The World Meteorological Organization has decided to add 11 new cloud classifications. That's to their international cloud atlas, and this is a big deal because it is the first time they've added anything in 30 years.
Forget being on cloud 9, we are on cloud 12 because that's how many new types of clouds have been added to this historic update coming from meteorologists. I'm a little biased, right? Exciting stuff, guys. All right, so the new types include the Volatus or roll cloud, which has been designated as a whole new species. You can see it gets its name from this long horizontal tube-like shape. Next one up, we have the cavum or the hole punch cloud. This big circular gap is sometimes caused by aircraft taking off and landing. Very easy to see, right? Makes sense there. And we also have the Spiritus. These are gorgeous. It's actually my favorite. It's kind of looking like it waves while you're underwater. I mean, these are actually beautiful. I mean, check these out. And then finally, we also have the big surfer waves of the Fluctus cloud. So beautiful, right? There's just a sample of the new additions that we have. Meteorologists, sky watchers, daydreamers, we're all geeking out, guys.
The meteorologists are all part of that same program. They're all getting handed a script and they're told to read it and they have no choice. And already it's time for governance.
They have a choice. Their paycheck is more important than speaking the truth. They have a choice.
Okay? This is something that they just shoved down our throats for the past few months, and they say they're gonna be doing it in the future, and they say, don't worry, that it's not real 6 months ago. Now, they're already talking about how are they gonna govern it. They're pushing this agenda full speed ahead. They're already talking about how to govern something that we're still slowly waking up to, that they're gonna be doing it to us publicly. This very small group of globalists claim that they have the exclusive rights to saving us and that we don't get it and they do. This is all of our skies. This is all of our air. This is our children's future. Everybody is involved here, all right? There was a time when people got pissed and they did something about it and they made things change, okay? They know that they can program you through social media, okay? And we can't let that happen. It's up to us to carry this information forward. It's up to us to be the change. And if we don't do it, we're not gonna have any sun. Thank you.
For in the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures, and we are all mortal.
Geoengineering, chemtrails, forced vaccinations, population control, weather modification, war games. We have not given consent. You cannot spray the atmosphere with toxic chemicals and expect no ramifications. These chemicals go into our food, our air, and our water supply. Ill effects of these have been recorded as headaches, flus, breathing problems, skin problems, and my major concern is Alzheimer's disease. Aluminium causes nerve damage. Fluoride in the water works with aluminium in the air to cross into our brains. At this moment, about 24,700 young people around the age of 30 and above have Alzheimer's. In the next 10 years, 400,000 people in Australia will have dementia. It is now the third leading cause of death in Australia. About 10 years ago, I did a degree in environmental management. short time, we were brainwashed to believe in population control, that our Earth could not sustain itself if we didn't intervene. The Earth has enough resources for everyone. We need to change our thinking, but also change our actions. If you have never heard of these terms before, then please start looking at the sky and make your own decision. It's not like they can hide the spraying.
Yes, it is a very good documentary. Frankenskies. I'll put the link in again. Yeah, circulate it. Who knows? Yeah, you take the action, you let go of the results. Always take the action, you let go of the results. Very often when you take action, you don't know what the result is, but you have made a ripple. What the effect is, you don't know. But if you don't do anything, you ain't making any ripple. And you know what's going to happen when you don't do anything. Nothing is going to happen. So, and here, if you still don't believe chemtrails and weather control is happening, you're the conspiracy theorist. I will put the link in here. A whole lot of people have been destroyed by weather. A whole lot of people have been taken out, dead, by the use of weather as weapons. A whole lot of homes, a whole lot of businesses, a whole lot of ranches, a whole lot of farms, a whole lot. So circulate the information. You never know who you might wake up. Yeah, do I think we're going to get it stopped? No. But a whole lot of the reason is because a whole lot of people don't do anything. And this has been going on for a very, very, very long time. Very long time. And you got to take the action for your own soul.
For years, they have told us that weather control and chemtrails were nothing but a big conspiracy.
No, chemtrails are not real.
The idea of chemtrails is absolutely false.
All of our sources say no, chemtrails are not real.
But now the establishment is actually admitting to the fact that chemtrails and weather control are indeed real. And not only are they admitting it, they're actually trying to sell it to us as a way to, quote, stop global warming.
You could actually spray sulfuric acid in the stratosphere 20 kilometers over our head and use that to stop the planet warming up in a ugly tech fix.
You can spray something into the atmosphere to change.
Spray pollution into the atmosphere to stop it warming.
The novel method we've been thinking about, or it's not novel at all, it's actually exactly what happens from aircraft contrails, is that we put a condensable, a few megatons a year of sulfur directly out of the back of an aircraft.
And each year you have to put a little more, and this doesn't, in the long run, mean that you can forget about cutting emissions. We will need to rein in emissions.
We'll get to it eventually. But in the meantime, we're shrouding the Earth in sulfuric acid.
If you go to aircraft engineers, and we've done this, they say, that would be easy, we could do this if you want us to.
We put 50 million tons of sulfuric acid in the air now as pollution, and it kills 1 million people a year worldwide.
Okay, but it'll be better if we put more in.
We're talking about 1% of that.
1% more, we're just killing 10,000 more people.
You can do math.
They'll only talk about sulfates, but their own papers say, actually, sulfates don't work. They stick together, they fall out of the sky. Instead, you got to use nanoparticulate aluminum, barium, strontium, magnetite, and so on.
Nevertheless, there might be some good reasons to think about alumina. The little picture is from a nanofabrication study, which shows you can make high-quality alumina particles just by spraying aluminum vapor out, which oxidizes. So it certainly seems pretty cost-effective and easy to do this with aircraft that are not very different from conventional aircraft.
So climate engineering sounds like an enticing prospect to these people. Is there any chance it could already be in widespread use?
The amount of lost sunshine hitting the planet right now is beyond belief. If people look up the term global dimming, they will see that fully 20% of the sun's rays that reached the planet several decades ago are no longer reaching the planet. I mean, that's a profound change that few people even know is occurring.
And what is really very profound, you can see it. You can see it with your own eyes taking place. So, what is wrong with a whole lot of people who just refuse to acknowledge those changes right before their very eyes? It's amazing, isn't it? So, French farmers attacked foreign trucks transporting imported produce and destroyed their cargo. Yeah, these European nations are getting a little tired of they being destroyed and the importation of food. I think that's a globalist method. Imports all over. And then they destroy the workers in that country by importing all of the food. They don't have to import any of the food. Why don't we just take care of our own? Manure. I agree, Patrick Kerr. It would be nice if we had men here with balls. I agree. This is a hard... I'm going to post the video because I don't know. I can't play the whole thing. It was hard to watch. But I think I'm getting overloaded or something's happening. Things that I could, tolerate, I'm having difficulty tolerating at this point. I think it's correlated with how much evil and how much suffering is caused by the evil every single day that we all are experiencing.
This one tamed the bull of the angry mind.
The electrical stimulator in the skull responds to radio stimulation, so the bull is literally subject to remote control.
Delgado has remote control of the animal.
Dr. Penfield, I smell burnt toast.
This one stimulated memories with electrodes on the brain.
Ready? On. Buddy, did you feel anything?
In that process, we have stumbled quite accidentally on the fact that there is recorded in the nerve cells of the human brain a complete record of the stream of consciousness.
This one tried to decode brainwaves.
Constructed a formula for what he termed cybernetics, control and communication in the animal and the machine.
This one tried to erase and reprogram the mind.
The work was done by the late Dr. Ewan Cameron. It involved extensive use of potentially dangerous drugs, excessive electric shock treatment, and endless tape-recorded messages to sleeping patients.
Dr. Cameron wanted to erase, rewrite, and program the mind and the person with all new thoughts and behaviors.
This one was a spy.
I hope I have a reasonable moral standard.
Also, this one.
This is their perception of it, if I could just continue.
No, it wasn't their perception of it either. No, it wasn't.
Dangerous to his being, contrary to any previous consciously expressed intentions and interests, contrary to the good of the individual, and subversive to the goals for which he is consciously working.
I understand all this talk.
Most of the scientists who conduct these experiments say that because they do not yet understand enough about the brain, these techniques should not be used on humans. But this man says they should. He is Dr. Robert Heath.
This one has never been proven to be a spy. This one tried for the push-button patient.
He was in terror. He said, "Doctors from Boston are trying to get my brain."
Oh boy. Yeah. U.S. ban sought on brain surgery used for control of human behavior. It's been going on for a very, very long time. But Peter Breggin is by far, you know, when people say all psychiatrists are bad, I can't stand that. No, Peter Breggin and other psychiatrists, there are a few, and far between, but they have really spent like their entire career screaming about psychiatry. Peter Breggin is by far, you know, the top of the list.
This one wanted to star in his own version of A Clockwork Orange.
Dr. West planned to use his confidential political back channels to acquire a newly decommissioned Nike missile base, complete with underground facilities and nestled high in a remote area of the Santa Monica Mountains, and turn it into a research facility to perform his experiments, altering people's behavior in a place he personally described as securely fenced and isolated.
And this one.
In the progress notes, I saw writing on the walls, "murder." That's all, just writing on the walls, "murder."
This one tried to stop it all.
I was not going to stop. I was just not going to stop about this.
For the first time, man now has the tools to explore the living brain.
It is doubtful that any meaningful form of consent is involved in this case.
Does it tamper with minds? Does it tamper with minds? And if so, Does anyone have the right to do that?
Can the human mind be controlled and remain human? Many of today's developments were predicted 35 years ago in what was then called a fantasy. Its title, Brave New.
Minds of men. The minds of men. Let me see. Okay. I'll put the link in again. And you can get the information you need to watch it. Why isn't this going? Go. Okay. Yeah. Well, there's an awful lot of people around the world, but an awful lot of Americans who have been experimented on without their knowledge, without their consent. And we have to wonder, a whole lot are wondering, what the hell has happened to my life? So, Boeing employees won't fly on their own planes that they build. Video has been exposed.
We've told you about
or the video has exposed employees saying, no, I won't fly on these Boeing planes. Now, I've included in my live streams several live streams about Boeing and their planes having an awful lot of problems. Taking off, having to return, hydraulic fluid leaks, an awful lot. So, here.
What's wrong with the Boeing company? The Boeing company got taken over by Wall Street. It used to be a great manufacturing company of aircraft, and then it got taken over by the vultures on Wall Street that only care about quarterly profits. So now their planes are being made in a very shoddy way, and they're skirting all the regulations, and that's why doors are flying off, engines are catching on fire, tires are falling off, and the people who work there are now admitting on undercover video from Al Jazeera that they wouldn't fly in the planes that they're building. You want to hear it? Here it is.
This is a Boeing factory in the U.S. state of South Carolina. Workers here in Charleston are assembling the company's flagship product, the 787 Dreamliner. But this footage reveals some have little faith in the plane they build.
Did you fly one? No. You won't fly one. Did you fly one of these planes?
So there, I don't know if you can hear, but we put the graphic, the copies up on the screen. They're asking the workers who are they're building the planes, would you fly on one of these? And every one of them is saying, no, I wouldn't. The one guy said, I never thought about it, but no, I wouldn't.
Oh my God.
They're all saying that.
According to the text that went out on, 10 out of 15 that they asked said they would not fly on these planes.
There's a little bit more to this. Let me play it.
15 workers asked randomly. 10 said they would not fly on the Dreamliner.
I wouldn't fly one of these planes because I see the quality going down around here.
An employee captured the footage after contacting Al Jazeera to tell us he had serious concerns about what he was seeing. At his request, we changed his voice.
With all the problems reported on the 787, there's 90% that's getting swept away, hushed up.
It's an iceberg.
In another meeting, the source told us workers are often underskilled, uncaring, and in some cases on drugs.
I've seen a lot of things that should not go on at an airplane plant. People talking about doing drugs, looking for drugs.
It's all coke and painkillers and what's the other one? You can get weed here. It's really good weed. They don't make that's nobody.
I know they don't.
Yeah, they have people that go out there and want to go smoke one up.
Do they?
Hell yeah.
Over the course.
So.
All right, so Jimmy Dore goes into a nice rant about capitalism and how capitalism, it works for a while and then they begin to eat their own. I don't think that that's the problem. I think the problem is, first of all, greed, for sure. But they also want to bring down the airline industry. They don't want people traveling. Now, all of the people who have their private jets, they continue to go on and travel. They just don't want people, ordinary people, the commoners, traveling. So when people see this and see the headlines that have been coming out, especially with United, with the Boeing planes, that in 1 week, they had 5 separate incidences in 1 week. But it wasn't just United. So in 1 week, they had about 8 or 9 separate incidences that are pretty scary. So for sure, this is going to work on people. You know, I've heard from subscribers who say, I would never get on a plane now. And then think about that new product, the pilots mandated, right? Pittsburgh police cut staff between 3 and 7 a.m. No longer respond if not in progress emergency. Defund the police sure has been swell. They will no longer personally respond to calls that aren't considered in progress emergencies after recent department policy changes. Oh my God. Okay, so it's not just, and Pittsburgh really needs the police. But try to call them in between 3 and 7, and they have sourced out their 911 to, one of those companies that just take messages to then relay after 7 a.m. How about Canada, Toronto? The police literally gave advice to those who live in Toronto to just leave their keys outside their homes because they just want to steal your car. What? Wait, okay.
There's also updated advice for all vehicle owners, a message echoed by Toronto police speaking at an Etobicoke safety meeting last month. Constable Marco Ricciardi had a new message for vehicle owners who keep their fobs in Faraday pouches.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door. Because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want
The fobs are keys.
Anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
That's why Galinsky says they will be installing the door stops and taking YPR's advice seriously. But she'd like more action from police as well.
You think? She'd like more action from police? You think? Unbelievable. To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your keys at your front door because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. They don't want anything else. They just want your car. So they're breaking into your home to get the keys to your car so they can steal your car. But they don't want anything else. What an absurd thing to say. Don't you think? Very absurd. Okay. And believe it or not, some people are actually taking the advice. So, welcome to Trudeau's Canada, where guns are illegal except criminals have them, and you don't. And the police are imploring you to leave your keys at the front door so armed criminals can steal your car and spare your life. Okay, okay, the criminals will always have guns, but you guys can't have guns. One car is stolen in Canada every 6 seconds. So who are all of these criminals? Could some of them be illegal migrants? This is, oh God, it's so insane. Major London department store gives up on calling police to catch shoplifters. Presumably, they were busy doing the Macarena at the Gay Pride Parade. Okay, well, when you realize that the police are just not doing their job, then why call them? But what is missing here is that those in Britain, those in Canada, don't have the right to arm themselves. And that is, they'd be making more strides if they did. Car theft is effectively decriminalized in London. Car theft decriminalized in London after it was revealed that less than 1% of vehicle thefts in the capital lead to criminal charges. Out of the nearly 55,000 thefts from vehicles in London last year, 55,000 just from London? Whoa. Scotland Yard only solved 271, representing 0.5% success. I don't think the police are doing their job. But they want it this way. And you all understand why. And it's only going to get an awful lot worse.
The Daily Mail reports police have failed to solve a single burglary in nearly half of the country's neighbourhoods over the past 3 years. Oh wow, who could have seen this coming? Of more than 32,000 communities analysed, 16,000, equivalent to 46%, had all their burglary cases in a 3-year period closed with no suspect charged by police. Almost 2,000 of the neighbourhoods, each containing around 3,000 residents, recorded at least 25 burglaries, but none were solved. Despite the impact on victims, it was revealed that some forces no longer dispatch an officer to the scene of a burglary because it's not considered a policing priority. What is considered a policing priority these days? Arresting over 3,000 people a year for offensive online comments. That's more of a priority. Arresting and convicting a man for posting offensive George Floyd memes in a private chat group, then sending him to prison for 20 weeks. That's more of a priority. Investigating and interrogating a Humberside man because he liked a tweet deemed to be transphobic. Didn't even tweet it, merely liked the tweet. That's more of a priority. Charging a 50-year-old mother in Scotland with a transphobic hate crime for retweeting an image of a suffragette ribbon. That's more of a priority. Arresting a 38-year-old woman in front of her own children and locking her up for 7 hours because she referred to a transgender woman as a man. That's more of a priority. Creating ad campaigns for International Pronouns Day warning people that misgendering others is a form of abuse. That's more of a priority. Creating public awareness campaigns where cops stand outside supermarkets with giant billboards that ominously warn being offensive is an offence. That's more of a priority. Maybe in future homeowners should just tell the police that during the burglary the robber made a racist comment. Maybe then they'll actually respond. Criminal burgles house. Person is offensive on social media.
It's quite true. Quite right. Retailers sound alarm bell over huge spike in organized shoplifting, and I would say that the organizations that are in Western countries now, burglarizing homes, doing that smash and grab stuff, a lot of it is coming from organized gangs that have migrated into your country. And here, California to close more prisons to save money. Thousands of prisoners will be released onto the streets without a plan. Sounds good, right?
And so rather than that 1 billion, because you're going to close prisons, say there's 5,000 people in that prison, and you close that prison, it's going to save $1 billion. It's probably more prisons than that for $1 billion. It's probably closer to 3 prisons that you could close and save $1 billion. The problem with that is that 12,000, that 15,000 people that are in those prisons are there for a reason. They're going to be out on our streets now, in our communities, in our neighborhoods. And I believe in rehabilitation. I really do. And I believe we should everything we should do to rehabilitate people. But the problem is you can only be rehabilitated if you choose to be rehabilitated. Just because someone goes to jail does not mean they're rehabilitated. They are choosing that lifestyle, and they have chosen that lifestyle for many, many, many years to land them in prison. So we allow 15,000 prisoners back out into the streets, free to do whatever it is they want now, and there's no place to put them. They're not going back to prison. They're not going back to jail. And so what is the cost to us as a civilized society? And where do we put that price tag? In my opinion, government's number one responsibility for Californians is the safety and security of our families, our businesses, our homes, our kids, our children, our schools. Safety and security, not the funding, all of those things. It's the safety and security. We need to provide for our California National Guard. We need to provide for our law enforcement, our firefighters, our emergency services personnel, the infrastructure for roads and those types of things. That is what government is. That's what our taxpayer money is supposed to be going for. And over the millennia, over the hundreds of years, we have now downslid into all of our taxpayer money goes to social programs. And that's not where it's supposed to be going.
And we all know that. I'll put the link in. You guys in California, get ready. More prisoner releases coming your way. Now, when you think about how many migrants, illegal migrants, are walking the streets, now they're opening up the prisons. 12 to 15,000 prisoners. How many prisoners were released during that pandemic? And people don't get what's going on here? American citizens, residents of these states, are being set up to be victims of violent crime. Wow.
What was the big takeaway today?
Yeah, Susan, residents of the city will see a major change in the way police respond. They will no longer respond to calls that aren't considered in-progress emergency. That means calls like criminal mischief, theft, harassment, and most burglary alarms will all be handled by an enhanced telephone reporting unit. That means residents will file a police report over the phone.
So this is the Pittsburgh, right? Burglaries. They won't respond. It's so tiring to say, this is obvious. Americans, you're being set up. We're being taken down, and you're being set up. Neighborhood watches, yeah, are necessary. Armed men protecting their neighborhoods. It's necessary now. Oh, but we don't have those men anymore. Right. And James O'Keefe, he goes undercover and he's talking to this guy, an associate director in the Office of the Secretary of Defense, who said, why not just have an open border? Tear down the wall. He also said, I think we should repeal the Second Amendment and take the guns all away. Jason Beck, who, well, I'm going to presume, and very often our presumptions are wrong, but I will presume that this guy is gay, and James O'Keefe, undercover, is, well, I will presume that he's pretending he's gay.
Why not just have an open border? Yeah, like, tear down the wall.
Jason Beck, Associate Director, Total Force Requirements and Sourcing Policy, says the country needs open borders.
You know, just lots of that talk about, like, border security.
Yeah, border security, what does that even mean?
It doesn't mean anything. It's just, like, throwing money in people at a problem that doesn't really exist. When has a terrorist ever come in?
I would like to do some work on the state's monopoly on violence.
State's monopoly? What is that?
It's the idea that the state, meaning the country, is the only sort of legitimate purveyor of violence and force of force. We're the only ones with guns, right?
Jason Beck, Associate Director, Total Force Requirements and Sourcing Policy from the Office of the Secretary of Defense, describes it as, quote, we, the government, are the only ones with guns.
I think we should repeal it. And take them all away. Whatever, just take them all.
So what would be like a federal solution?
But I wonder if you would see a similar solution to like school integration.
Yeah.
You know, where they did have to mobilize the National Guard. How many people in the National Guard, maybe were personally opposed to integration, but still followed orders and made it happen?
Hopefully they would have to follow the orders.
Right.
I don't know how that's going to happen.
We need to pack the court.
Jason Beck says you have to pack the Supreme Court. You have all the power to solve the world issues.
Court reform, you need to get a majority on the court so that they can stop the legislation.
He told us he writes the answers for high-level officials at congressional posture hearings. Oh, you actually write the answers for the congressional questions and stuff?
Yeah. When we're talking about posture hearings, it's usually very high level. Universal health care, we could start there. Abolishing the Senate. Gosh, there's so many things that you could do. I do have the classified stuff, but that I can't talk about.
Oh, you're turning me on already. I can neither confirm nor deny. Made you dinner, some rose petals here. I'm a little bit of a romantic, so. Do you mind untying it for me? Cheers. See you again.
So this is a 20-minute video, and yeah, okay, well, not sure what to say about James O'Keefe in this one, but he gets the job done. At one point, at the end, I think it is, that he's telling this guy, or asking him if he knows who James O'Keefe is. And the guy says, oh yeah, I've heard of him and he's a really bad person. Migrant burns down hotel and security admit to no training.
I think there might be a few migrants left here still. But yeah, so if migrants are setting fire to the hotels because they're not happy with their accommodation, just shows the kind of people that were housing in these hotels. Yeah, look at all this. There's a massive fire here. You can see how it's all burnt. This was the laundry case thing. But yeah, now this was, I did the last video here, and it was literally set on fire, oh my lord, a few days before I actually came. So
who they are, and you don't know what they're going to do.
It just shows you that obviously some of these migrants have got, illegal migrants should I say, sorry guys, have got traits of arsonists and things like that. The man has been charged, but like I said, if you Google the Hatherton Hotel in Penkridge, which will be written in the description, it will tell you all you need to know about what has happened. So, security, where's your badge, mate? Badge? Got a badge? You going to show us? Are you going to show us your badge? Show us that. Show us that, I'll believe your security. I will wait here until you show us your badge.
Behind this gate, the public land.
No, I mean, until you show your badge, I'm not going to believe whatever you say. I'll wait here while you get your badge. Anyway, guys, yeah, we just...
I'll post the link for you guys and you Brits. But yeah, wow. Migrants not liking the food are causing an awful lot of damage to the hotels that they are in. But don't most people know that Britain is not known for its cuisine? I guess these migrants don't know. And you guys in Britain, you know that's true. So don't go getting all upset. And I posted this on my Never Lose Truth channel.
We begin in the ABC 7 Alert Center with breaking news and a warning. You may find the details of this story disturbing. A woman accused in Mexico of several murders and body dismemberments, even removing victims' hearts, is arrested in El Paso. And within the last 10 minutes, ABC 7 obtained this arrest photo. She is Michelle Angelica Pineda, also known as La Cheli. She was wanted for 5 murders in Juarez. She's also suspected of being involved in several other killings. Investigators say she crossed illegally into the U.S. and was operating on behalf of the gang Artistas Asesinos, or assassin artists. The FBI says Pineda was known for extreme brutality, dismembering bodies, removing hearts, and placing the hearts in front of Santa Muerte statues. Authorities say they found guns, machetes, and fentanyl, as well as other drugs at the motel. El Paso's FBI says several law enforcement agencies worked together to arrest Pineda at an El Paso motel.
I'm amazed at how many people are like, oh my God, they leave these comments. You're posting mainstream media. Can't believe that you have no discernment and not recognizing that this is all bullshit and it's just to create fear. Who do these people think are coming across the border? it's amazing to me. Of course, they don't present any evidence that it's not happening. But it's like these people who are still leaving those kinds of comments. I have to wonder, do they think everything is peachy keen here? But all of what mainstream media is I'm not saying that everything they're talking about is true. All I'm saying is that there's an awful lot now. They don't have to make up because it's actually happening, So, and it's not to, I don't post it to create fear. I post it so that people might get a little bit inspired to stand up, speak out, do something to protect themselves. Biden administration admits secretly flying 320,000 migrants into the U.S., and you would think mainstream media has reported on this. Jimmy Dore is there. Where are Americans? Do you understand that when you have a presidential administration flying migrants into our country, huge numbers, that means treason. Hello, Americans. Are you awake at all? Are you home at all? Jesus Christ. 320, okay, fine.
Biden administration admits flying 320,000 migrants secretly into the United States to reduce the number of crossings at the border.
What?
Why are they telling us if it's a secret?
If you needed, why are they telling us if this is a secret? Right? Everybody knows that immigrants are much better behaved if you fly them in rather than have them walk in. Terrorists would never think of using airplanes.
I guess that's why a wall won't work.
Wow. If you needed any more proof that the president of the United States is wandering lost in the shopping mall of his brain right now, here it is. They can't see. This is they're doing
to reduce the crossings at the border.
Putting Joe Biden in charge of the border is like putting Alec Baldwin and to teach a gun safety class.
Come on, his best friend was killed by a crazy gun.
Joe Biden's administration has admitted to transporting migrants on secret flights into the United States, and lawyers for its immigration agencies claim revealing the locations could create national security vulnerabilities.
Anything? Anything? Do you see? Whew. Nothing. Nothing. Americans. I don't think it's only the poisons or the electromagnetic frequencies that are taking place. Americans really need to face themselves in the mirror. Those who have children have to face themselves in the mirror and say, am I really leaving all of this for my children? And what if my children ask, what did you do to try to stop any of this? Will you have an answer? Most will not. And I'll post a link if you want to watch. If you don't know about this, I've posted on this. Jimmy Dore is posting on it. People are posting on it. Mainstream media is posting on it. So don't tell me that Americans might not know. Some of them might not know. But a whole lot do. Concern growing about Chicago's plans to enforce migrant eviction deadline. The dumping of migrants onto the streets. Now, these migrants would not have come across the border without getting the message that they would be cared for. They've been betrayed. What a surprise. Don't you think they'll be pissed? Because it's not just Chicago, but New York is doing it, and an awful lot of other places are doing it. Denver is doing it. So you then have an awful lot of people on the streets pissed. And people who are pissed, they love to take it out on people. They'll take it out on Americans.
Yeah, Erica, we could see an unknown number of migrants from city shelters ending up right here at the city's landing zone where they first arrived, only to have to wait their turn for shelter placement once again, because despite numerous concerns raised by some Alder people and activists, Mayor Brandon Johnson says he's moving forward with this eviction plan. Among those facing evictions this Saturday at migrant shelters.
So there's a lot of confusion going on, a lot of panic and worry.
Because volunteer Lydia Wong says some of these new arrivals don't know where they will go.
It's not been a well thought out or well executed policy. 60 days is not enough time to find housing.
Those 60-day notices given to migrants upon their arrival and placement at city shelters. After postponing eviction deadlines 3 times, Mayor Brandon Johnson said Wednesday he's moving forward.
We've had migrants in shelters since 2002. Again, that's not the design of the system that we are trying to hold up.
But because under federal law, new arrivals aren't eligible for a work permit until around 6 months after they've applied for asylum status, more than a dozen Alder people like Andre Vasquez are calling on the mayor to work with migrants on a case-by-case basis.
Oh my God. Chaos, chaos, chaos will turn into violent chaos. This is why all of the people in their comfortable bubbles need to stretch. They need to do some stretching because this is going to affect everyone. It's already affecting an awful lot of residents. Money, right? Okay. But it's going to get so bad because more and more are coming across the border as I speak. How many are they flying in that we don't know about because these are secret flights? Holy shit. It couldn't be more obvious that the enemies are in government and they're committing treason. And this is when Americans, their constitutional right, need to stand up, fight to take back their government. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. And it begins. Florida sending troops to stop Haitian migrants. Pentagon deploying anti-terrorism units.
Yeah, and Florida is already bracing for a possible mass migration of Haitians attempting to enter the United States through the Florida coast.
Violence continues to escalate in Haiti, and it's to the point now where the Pentagon has just deployed Marine anti-terrorism units.
And as a result, Governor DeSantis is sending over 250 soldiers and officers to protect the state from the land, sea, and sky.
Mass migration concerns. Tonight, Florida politicians, including our Governor Ron DeSantis, are bracing for a possible surge of Haitian refugees packing into boats and arriving on our shores.
The governor announcing today he is sending troops here to South Florida.
A new year, new arrivals, and a new plan aimed at slowing the rising tide of migrants trying to enter the U.S. illegally.
Okay, so.
Oh, boy. And here, Oscar El Blue. This is a video to all of the fake news media.
When we find the bracelets, is going to be where the coyote dropped them off.
Message goes out to all you NGOs and the fake news media, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, Democracy Now!, The Daily Beast. Instead of being in your luxurious desk and reporting and wearing some makeup at the border, this is where you're supposed to be. Walking the trail. Real America's Voice News, the only network that has done it 4 times in history. We're reporting on this, on the environmental disasters that all you environmentalists and all you leftists, you don't want to say anything. Look, this is the disaster of open border policies. This is what you create. We know that people are wanting a better life, but this is the cost of a better life. You destroy culture, you destroy the environment, you destroy the tribes, beliefs, and customs. You destroy a border. You destroy land of the Panamanian soil. You bring crime, because ultimately open border policies bring cartel and crime. You bring rape, abuse, and also you create a market. But at the same time you're creating a market, you're destroying the environment. Not only that, now you want to create refugees. That's crazy. Because you know that the majority of them are economical migrants. But the theory now, and it is not a conspiracy, is that you want to create refugees now from the epicenter going out, so they will have a label that they are refugees and asylees, and in that way, they cannot be categorized as economical migrants.
That's exactly right. He's right. I'll put the link to his video, because he goes on for another 2 minutes and 24 seconds. So I didn't even watch this. King Charles just gave his royal assent to new UK laws that allow gene-edited foods to go unlabeled, despite having a personal, strictly organic food supply for himself.
I think there's an interesting piece of hypocrisy to point out with regards to this, and specifically King Charles. I have to get used to saying King Charles now, who has just given his royal assent to new laws in the UK that okay the idea of gene-edited foods being unlabeled and undifferentiable from normal foods. He has just given his royal assent to that, despite the fact that King Charles not only was the person who literally launched the Great Reset. When the World Economic Forum had their launch party, it was King Charles who did that launch and was the first speaker.
The time to act is now.
Who announced the Great Reset to the world. But King Charles goes around the world jet setting, of course, flying his private jets with all of his attendants. He has something like 120 staff who look after everything, including setting the bath temperature to just the right way and putting the bath plug in just the right position, cooking several different eggs for him every morning so he can find one with just the right consistency, traveling around with his own personal toilet seat, all of course the stupid royal nonsense. But also, he travels around with and not only his personal chefs, but his personal food supply, which is organic food only, because he will not touch the very stuff that he's trying to foist on the rest of us. But don't worry, guys, as part of One Health and as part of the UNEP, quadripartite, whatever they're going to thrust down your throat, they're going to say that this is in the name of protecting Mother Earth from those horrible, horrible farms that are producing all this horrible greenhouse gas emission. You guys are eating meat. Oh, you're eating all these horrible, you're contributing to the end of nature. What you need is this bioengineered, lab-produced gunk from these corporations that have monopolized that industry. That's what's good for you. Just don't look to us to be eating it. No, that's for you guys, the plebs out there. Anyone who is not disgusted, truly disgusted by the hypocrisy of this agenda, truly isn't paying attention to it. It has nothing to do with saving the planet.
I'm disgusted. But I'm also angry because it's so flippin' obvious. These people, like King Charles, are disgusting, subhuman, psychopathic shitheads that need to be gone. But for some reason, all of the commoners, there's a whole lot that bow down to the king who's destroying your life. Yeah, I mean, that's called demoralization. We have an awful lot of people who are so demoralized that they don't know. They can't think straight, clearly. They don't know how to use their brain. They're going on every day through life like robots. And they don't take any action. And I'm not talking about Brits, I'm talking about all, especially from Western countries. You know, we're not civilized. Don't think that you're living in civilization. We are not civilized. We're just low. Walking low road throughout life. You know, never doing anything to better ourselves so that we can better societies. We just keep bowing to disgusting, repulsive, psychopathic creatures who are subhuman. Do we need to change that? I'd say so. I would say so. I will never forgive the world for what they have done to my people. Yeah.
جوعان انت؟ بدك تاكل؟ سلام خذ يلا
Civilized? What a joke. Biden has supported Israel's genocide in Gaza consciously and unconditionally. We are not civilized. We're violent savages.
As the people of Gaza face agonizing death from orchestrated starvation, the EU is so concerned about the humanitarian situation that some of its member states cut the UNRWA funding and increase arms to Israel. The US is so troubled it's building a pier and airdropping food, but there's hundreds of trucks already at the border crossing full of supplies. It's just they're being prevented from crossing by the same Israel that the US is sending another 17.6 billion in military assistance to. What sort of sick monsters are these? There would be no famine or genocide in Gaza if Biden restrained Israel. His support has been conscious and unconditional. So as the Irish politicians shamefully cross the Atlantic to doff the cap for Patrick's Day and pay homage to this butcher, they should remember that our history and relationship with the US comes from our famine. Irish Americans should know the people of Ireland stand against genocide, Joe. Shasamid leis an Palestine, Chucky for law.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. Why does the West never talk about the trauma Palestinian children are left with? Because hardly anybody cares. That's why.
قاعدين بنلعب بالجوال انا ومعبود الثاني قصبت والتخني كلها طلعت علي وانا قاعد بحكي الباقي مع معبود والرضم اجى بتم كله وهذه اللي جرقه وقع ظهري بعدين بابا اجى اخذنا ماما رات جبروا عملت اتخذوا كل الرضم وقع عليها.
اخوتك موجودين معك كلهم؟
لا
طب مين ضايل مش موجود؟
ولا عدا غير حمد.
حمد وينه؟
بعرفش.
شو بيقرب لك حمد؟
ابن عمتي.
ابن عمتك؟ ما لقيتوه في الردم؟
لا مش لاقيين ولا تلاقيه قاعدين بنلعب بالجوال أنا ومع.
And if he survives this genocide, will he be a resistance fighter? Oh, right. They're called terrorists. He will not be so favorable to Israelis and to Jews. I am so happy that an awful lot of Jews from around the world are against this, speaking out publicly. But what is happening? I fear for an awful lot of Jews. I mean, a whole lot have said that they haven't encountered any anti-Semitism, despite what mainstream media says. But the jury is still out. And soldiers of the IDF are killing themselves.
נפגעי נפש שמו קץ לחייהם בגלל שלא היה מענה והייתה הזנחה קשה של המשרד.
לאחר מותו המצער של בר קלף שהצית את עצמו בשבוע שעבר ומת מפצעיו, ומותו של אור דוניו, גם הוא הלום קרב מוכר, התכנסה היום השדולה להלומי קרב בכנסת לדיון מיוחד באמצע הפגרה.
אני אלון סער, הבן של רונן סער, הוא כבר חודש נמצא במצב של צמח. למה? כי הוא התאבד, ניסה להתאבד לפחות, בפעם ה-10, 11. יש שאלות שאני לא יכול לישון. אם אתם רוצים, יש לי פה סרטון של אבא שלי תולה את עצמו מול אגף השיקום, כדי שיכירו בו. למה אני צריך לראות את זה? למה חייל בעזה שנמצא בפעילות צריך לקבל שיחות מאנשים שאומרים לו, תפתח עכשיו את הפייסבוק, יש לייב, אבא שלך מתאבד. למה אני צריך לראות את זה? למה הם לא מקבלים טיפול? למה הם לא מקבלים טיפול? למה המשפחות לא מקבלות טיפול?
נפגעי נפש שמו קץ.
It's, see, evil on both sides. You know, not every IDF soldier is rah-rah, let's go kill. And yeah, we see an awful lot of them on Twitter, on TikTok, but there's an awful lot who I have no doubt are so against what they have been ordered to do. And it's fucking with their brains, for sure. Wow, man. And listen to this, man. Chuck Schumer calls for new elections in Israel, saying Netanyahu has lost his way. Chucky, come on. You love Netanyahu. All right, so because they're getting so much blowback from supporting Israel, this is what they do. They publicly condemn somebody, but privately they pick up the phone. All right, I had to say that, BB. I hope you're not upset. No, I understand. Bullshit.
I have known Prime Minister Netanyahu for a very long time. While we have vehemently disagreed on many occasions, I will always respect his extraordinary bravery for Israel on the battlefield as a younger man. I believe in his heart he has his highest priority is the security of Israel. However,
I'm sorry. I'm looking at words written by a blackbird. Jamie Lee has passed away. Jamie Lee has passed away. Jamie Lee? No, come on. A plain truth. You're telling me Jamie Lee, a plain truth, has passed away? What the hell? He was found dead on his ranch? What? Yes. Where did you get this information? Where did you get this information? Where did you get this information? I'll wait because I am all right. Well, I wish that somebody or like a Blackbird would tell me, where did you get the information? Anthony Haywood? Jamie Lee is a plain truth. Jamie Lee was among the few that I actually still had respect for in this truther community. All right. I don't understand. Do you know how he died? How did he die? Oh, Jesus, man. Oh, boy. That felt like just a kick to the gut. It really... I'm so shocked, and Jesus. I don't understand. I don't understand. What the hell? What the hell? Found dead. Supposedly no foul play. Not suicide. All right, I'm gonna have to check this out. I want to believe it's not true. He went gently. How do people know this? Where are you getting this information? When this, I'm going to end now because I just can't. Can you post links to however it is that you learned this? Wherever you learned it from, once this live actually posts? Oh, this hurts. All right. Fuck. Thanks for showing up. Hope to see you tomorrow. Okay, please email me. He had a son, didn't he? He did so much. And he wasn't just posting, but he collected funds, donations to help other people. And he posted a lot, certainly on the fire in Paradise. And his support meant everything to me. Because he did care about other people, and he reached out several times to me. Okay. Hope to see you tomorrow. Stay safe, everybody. Ciao.